Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
I found out that my wife cheated on me and decided to be faithful to her boyfriend by not cheating on him with her husband. Now family and friends wanted me to forgive her since she forgave me when I cheated on her at the beginnings of our relationship. The title, to be honest, pretty much says everything. I'll make every effort to keep this as brief as possible. The brother of her AP phoned me 1 month ago and informed me everything that his brother and my wife had been up to. We've been married for 7 years and have 11 children together. He had discovered that he had also been having relations with his girlfriend, and so he made the decision to end his whole existence. It turns out that throughout the period in which my wife had been cold, aloof, and denied me any form of emotion or closeness, she was having an affair with another man. I thought we were just having a rough patch, and honestly I ignored a lot of red flags. After COVID-19 was introduced, my wife was able to reclaim her role as my wife. However, intimacy has never totally restored. I was able to see text exchanges between my wife and her assistant principal. And believe me when I say that those texts were horrible, frightening, and painful to receive. I was humiliated and defamed by the love of my life, who made fun of me and told him how much he was so much better than me in bed, among other things they did that we had never done before. This individual even boasted about how he was able to convince someone else's wife to be loyal to him rather than her spouse. When I challenged her about it, she attempted to deny it until I gave her the evidence I had, at which point she admitted to everything. She sobbed, apologized, begged me for forgiveness, begged me not to divorce her, and she did everything else imaginable. As a result of my departure, I have been residing with a buddy of mine for about a month. Because she forgiven me after I was found other women and my ONS at the beginning of our relationship or family, some of my family members and common acquaintances have been pleading with me to forgive her. After a period of adjustment, we decided that we wanted to be together. She has also been seeing a therapist since the beginning of the month of June, and our connection has improved significantly over the previous 5 months. I'm not sure whether or not I should forgive her and give her another opportunity. My thoughts are all over the place. I've spoken with an attorney to determine my legal alternatives, but that's about it. Story 2. My 40s male, wife, 30s female, cheated after 14 years while drunk/high but wants to fix things. I'll try to make this as brief as possible, and I doubt anybody will read it, but maybe just writing it down will help me. My wife was my closest companion. The previous 14 years have been fantastic for the most part. I loved her more than anything else, and she adored me as well. She is a wonderful person with a fiery temper, but she was the yin to my yang. I have a very even temperament and try very hard to pause and think before I behave, while she is a little more careless and emotional. But it was a terrific combination. She was the other half of me that I was missing, and I was the other half of her. For many years, we have been a happy childless couple. She had always said that she did not want to have children. I had a daughter many years before we met, and she helped look after her when she came to visit. She was an excellent second mother for her. We experienced our ups and downs, just like any other marriage. Years ago, she had some troubles with becoming too close to a coworker. She originally lied about the difficulty, but we finally worked through it, and I believed we were stronger than ever. We spent a lot of time together in the town. We drank a bit more than we should have for our health, but neither of us had a drinking problem. We both worked in hospitality, so it's something that comes with the territory. Then she decided against having a child. Maybe it was the fact that she hit 30 and baby fever set in, or maybe it was watching her sisters so happy with their children that swayed her opinion. It truly doesn't matter. But one night, we had the chat, and I told her that I would love to create a family with her. However, the time was inconvenient. The short explanation is that both of our employment were potentially about to terminate, and we had no idea what would happen in the near future. We gradually got back on our feet after a horrible year in which we lost everything and had to start again. During the difficult times, she began to drink more and more. She comes from a family of alcoholics. Things went quite terrible with her conduct for a spell due to drinking and despair from having to start again. But as I previously said, we were able to pull ourselves out of it, get back on our feet, and begin putting our lives back together. Her drinking, on the other hand, remained an issue. She'd get drunk and start calling me names. She became inebriated at work and was fired for drinking on the job. She was still my wife, and I loved her, so I attempted to support and assist her. She would stop drinking severely for a time, then return to it a few months later. When she was sober, she was always apologetic, and most of the time she was still fine. But once a month or so she would get intoxicated and tell me she hates me and is leaving me for a genuine guy who would have a family with her. I attempted to convince her that we couldn't have a family while she was drinking and behaved like this. Things began to deteriorate a few months ago. She began drinking on a daily basis, including concealing alcohol and lying to me about her drinking. She also began using cocaine on an almost regular basis. I don't criticize drug usage. We'd done it together a few times before, but not frequently. She was deceiving me about her drug use. I addressed her numerous times, reminding her that she had told me she wanted to establish a family, but was not behaving in a manner that allowed that to happen. Then, something occurred. She was with a person I believed was a buddy, but it turned out he wasn't. She was inebriated, and they were smoking coke together. He and I had previously discussed our issues, and he utilized that knowledge to tell her what she wanted to hear. He tricked her into getting laid. Yes, she still did it, and it was her choice, but she was not. But he could prey on an inebriated woman, gave her drugs, and then booted her out of the home after he was laid. That night, I had to take her up. She told me about how they went to his home to buy more drugs and he began throwing up, and she just wanted to get out of there. I believe I could have forgiven her on the spot if she had come to me soon after that occurred and confessed and was prepared to change. Get her assistance and try to move on. That, however, did not occur. I discovered the texts they exchanged approximately a week later. When I challenged her, she informed me what had transpired, and she agreed to leave and return to her parents' place. That is where she is right now. When I saw the texts, I had no idea she was as messed up as she was that night. I also had no idea how much he had exploited her in order to be laid. I've subsequently learned that he's done this before, and that it's his go-to method for getting laid. He is a nasty guy who waits and preys on weak females. That is disgusting. She is really sorry. She recognizes that what she did was wrong, and she confesses that what transpired that night was her fault, even though he spoke what he needed to say. She wants to attempt to solve this problem and preserve our marriage. She has already stopped drinking and has said that she would never drink again. She claims she was upset that we didn't have a family, but she knows it was because of her. She has said that this was the rock bottom she needed to reach in order to repair herself and return to the person she once was. I'm at a loss on what to do next. She was my closest companion. She was my life's love. I know that none of this would have occurred if it hadn't been for the drugs and booze, but I'm not sure I'll ever be able to trust her again. Even if I can ultimately trust her again, our main issue was establishing a family, and I don't believe I can trust her enough in the time we have left to do so. Her biological clock is counting down the days till she dies. Nothing would make me happier than to reclaim what we had before our lives were shattered, yet nothing can turn back the clock. Nothing can reverse what has occurred. I realize that no one is flawless, even myself. But am I simply causing myself more pain in the future? What should I do? Edit. Yes, for the sake of privacy. I was vague on several aspects, including age. No, I was not Hunter. We were coworkers as well as friends. She was 20 years old and I was 27. Yes, she was a few years younger than I was, but we were friends who had just gone through a nasty breakup. We began speaking and connecting, and things progressed from there. Also, sure, it took us longer than a year to get back on our feet. We've been talking about having a kid for some years now.